Hello everyone, welcome back to Obsessive Prepper. Today's video is going to be answering a few subscribers' questions that came from my YouTube and my TikTok. Now, I do storage, long-term food storage for preppers, SHTF situation, and I show you through all my videos on how to store certain foods, but people are still kind of getting caught up and not understanding different methods, or they'll see me do it one way on a video and say, why aren't you doing it this way? Why do you do it this way? And I just highly suggest for people to watch my other videos, because as you go with me through my videos, you will learn I do all different ways. And it's just because I've been a prepper for so many years. I'm looking at 25 years plus as being a prepper. And over the years, if you're a prepper, you know that your life changes on how you do things. You learn from your mistakes and what is the best way for you, because what works for me might not work for you. And what I try to do is show you different ways of prepping that might work for your circumstances. I've had people comment, I don't nearly have that much space that you do. Well, if you don't, think on the smaller level. Think of different ways that you can hold food, store food, and not worry about so much bulk. And eventually, as you become better at it, as it becomes a lifestyle, you start understanding how to store it, where to store it, and how to get that best shelf life. And again, where to store it. You can use a wine rack. I use a DVD, or no, it's not even a DVD. I'm dating myself. A VHS cabinet. I have cubes that are in my living room that are like coffee tables, and the center of it is empty, and you just sit it over. And I've got candles underneath that. So you learn how to store and where to store your foods, and you become better at it. Now, I've got rice here set out because it's one of those things that can answer a lot of these questions. And also, I have rice up here that I stored in 2007. And at the end of the video, I'll open that up and you can see how it's stored, how it looks. Tomorrow, I'm going over my son's house and my daughter-in-law's house. We're going to cook Indian curry. And I'm going to go ahead and take new rice that I purchased. Back here, I've got it in a bag. See it up here. And then also my 2007 rice. And I'm going to cook both of them and let them taste test it, see if they notice the difference. And that'll be in a separate video after this video. Now, going back to some of my subscribers' questions, let me get my questions here. Okay, so I'll leave it up here. On your jar vacuum sealer, do you still need to give the jars a bath or not? Or is that what the vacuum sealer does? Now, I'll leave my little clip here. My Foodsaver is an old dinosaur. I get questions all the time. What is it? What's the brand? It is a Foodsaver brand. It's just I've had it for a lot of years. The newer models are silver. Now, the way I interpret this question is, do I wash my jars before, or maybe she's asking, do I pressure can or give it a water bath? I'm not sure, so I'm going to answer both of them. Now, on my jars, when I am doing dried items, I do not do any kind of sterilization. The only thing I do is put it in my dishwasher and I wash it and I put it on a high heat setting. I will leave my jars out so that at least 24 hours so that I know my jars are completely dry, and then I will put the product inside. On the lids, I have reused lids. You can see here that I've got something scratched out. I will reuse my lids. The only time I will not reuse my lids is when I am pressure canning or water bath canning. I want a fresh new lid. I figure if I'm putting all that time into it, I can spend the money and have new lids. Now, I know a lot of people use their older lids, but the only thing I use my older lids is on my dry canning, my dry products. Now, also, there's a lot of questions about people asking, do you need to freeze rice? If you're putting it in a jar with an oxygen absorber, or you're using your Foodsaver to remove the oxygen, you do not need to freeze it. You've eliminated the oxygen in the jar, and there's not going to be any eggs hatching. There's not going to be an issue. I am in dry heat, I'm in Arizona, and I've been doing this a long time, and I have never had a bug hatch in an oxygen-free product, be it a Mylar bag, jars, number 10 cans. Now, the only other thing that I would suggest is if you don't want to use jars and you're using buckets like what's behind me, you can use Mylar bags, and a lot of people do it. One of the questions is why do I use mason jars? I'll leave it up here. What is the reason for storing in glass versus the original packages? And they were referencing to my hash brown video, why I take it out of the cardboard box. The reason why I take them out of the cardboard box is you've got to think, if you're storing for a long period of time, and especially if you're a prepper and you're putting it in a basement, in cupboards, putting it away, and you have any kind of rodent problem, bug problem, they can chew through that cardboard. And also the cardboard leaches air into it. And so what we're trying to do is remove your oxygen. We're trying to make it safe where bugs cannot get into it or rodents. And we're trying to keep it cool and dry. So by having it in the cardboards, that's why I put everything in jars. Going back to why I put everything in jars, I can see it. Over the years, check all my videos out. I've got so many where I show you that I put it in Mylar bags, food in Mylar bags. I use 5-gallon buckets. I use the 2-gallon buckets. I use Foodsaver bags. I kind of, as a prepper, because I've been doing it so long, I kind of double duty it, and I do prepping a lot of different ways. On top of it, I try to show on YouTube the different ways that you can do it. Maybe you don't have the money for your mason jars. So if you're going to going back to this 5-gallon bucket, if you're going to do a 5-gallon bucket, I would recommend, if you don't have a Foodsaver, that you can remove the oxygen from it, or Mylar bags where you can use oxygen absorbers, put it in Ziploc baggies, and put them in smaller Ziploc baggies. Do not do it all in one bucket. And as far as I'm concerned, now I'm probably going to get hit by people, I do not believe that bay leaves are going to solve your issue. I think you're better off at that point just storing it in Ziploc baggies, trying to get all the oxygen out, and then putting it in. And if you have a problem with any kind of infestation, it's going to be in that one package, not the entire 5-gallon bucket. Okay, going back to oxygen absorbers, I got this pack on Amazon, relatively inexpensive. I'll leave the link below. What I like about the link that I'm going to leave down below, and I'm not an affiliate by any means, I have nothing to do with Amazon, is that the fact is that these come in 10 oxygen absorbers per pack. Now, oxygen absorbers through the LDS cannery, different sites have 100 to a package. I don't like that because once you've opened the package up, the oxygen is exposed to your oxygen absorbers and they go bad faster. So I like the fact that these are individual. You can buy 100, so 10 packages, and you only have to open up one package. Now, there you go. Let's see if you can get it. Yep. So now these are 300 cc's. Now they come different ways and it's hard to find all the different cc's, 100, 300, 200, 2000 cc's. But if you, on the 300 cc's, let me back up. 1 quart jar, you need about 100 cc's. A gallon jar, or a half-gallon jar, you need about 200 cc's. But because I have 300 cc's, you can just throw a 300 cc in the jar and it'll be just fine. The only thing is underusing your oxygen absorbers and then not having it remove your oxygen. Now, if you did a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket with a big Mylar bag, you're going to need 2,000 cc's of oxygen absorbers. To me, it's relatively inexpensive. Throw a couple extra in. So you're looking at, 300, you're looking at about 7 of these oxygen absorbers. Throw in 8. It is not going to kill the product and it's not going to do anything other than you're going to assure that your oxygen is removed. Now, do you have to, again, I get all these questions all the time repeatedly. Do you have to, if you don't have a Foodsaver, do you have to use oxygen absorbers? I don't have the money for a Foodsaver. I don't have money for an oxygen absorber. No, you don't. You can just put the rice in the jar. It's still going to last a long time years, years. This is just ensuring that it's put up properly, and you're going to get the longest shelf life if you use a food saver or oxygen absorber. I hope that answers the questions, because I get that a lot. Again, the questions: do you need to use the glass jars? No, you don't. You can use Mylar. Mylar might not work for you. Doesn't work for a lot of people. Because again, you put it in a bucket and you forget about it. And I'm all about rotate, rotate, rotate. If you're going to store food for long term, you need to use your food and you need to rotate it. I don't like when somebody just purchases a bunch of food, puts it away, and lets it go bad. So then this goes on to Foodsaver Bags. Now, I've had a lot of people make comments to me that Foodsaver Bags don't work for long-term food storage. And I guess it really is different between everybody, what works for you. Because I've had a lot of people say that they leak. Now, my bags are actual Foodsaver bags. And I'm going to try to get up here to you, if I can see the date. This is Rice-A-Roni that I have done in March of 2012. Rice-A-Roni. What I did is I took it, took it out of the box and I put it in Foodsaver bags. And I am still using this rice today. The seasoning is still perfectly fine and everything is good to go. Now, I did a lot of these in just my Foodsaver bags. Cost effectively, you spend a lot more money, do it in Foodsaver bags. So something else that I did, let me get it. I've got this little demonstrating area. I've done so many videos in my kitchen, I figured I'd put this in here and use this as a little set. I hope you all like it. Now, this is one of the ways that I have stored some of my Rice-A-Roni. Again, it's not glass, but it is in a little tub. I have it up on a shelf. If you want to see my long-term food storage room, check this video out. It's old and it's long, but it shows you kind of different ways I store things. And another thing, don't store all your food in one place. You know, if you have a second home, put half of it in the second home. If you have an outside garage that's air conditioned, put it out there. Put your food in different areas unless it's the food you use every day. So this is a bucket that I have for Rice-A-Roni. And here, this is in here. This was done in Rice-A-Roni, 1 box, 2 pounds, Mexican fried rice, and wild and Spanish rice. March 2012. But this is expensive. So what I did, I've replaced it. And I've used the Rice-A-Roni in the boxes. I didn't take them out of the package. I put them in my Mylar bags, and I've got, what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes that I did in 2014. So this is in the box, and these are not in the box. So again, if you're going to store like this, I would, let me get my lid here, sorry. I would definitely have mouse traps, sticky traps, something, so you don't have an issue. And I have lived in the same house for 35 years. I've never had a mouse problem, and I've never had a rat problem. Well, the other day, I am out in my backyard. I have orange sours in my backyard. They're not fruit trees, they're ornamental trees. And I was watering, and the branch goes whoosh, and it was windy out that day. And I thought, well, gosh, that branch moved a lot. And I'm like, there's no way. And I started looking. Beside myself. This rat body length was this long. I live in the city, and I have been here 35 years and never seen a rat. So you can't say because you didn't have that issue that you will not have that issue. So me being me, I cut my orange sours down. I took a blower because I was afraid of the rat, and I'm like running it off into another neighbor's yard, and I put rat traps out. So if you're going to store it in plastic tubs like this, make sure that you put sticky traps and things like that around, or be very vigilant about your house. Walk your perimeter. You know, I do that anyways. I do it every morning and I do it every night. And it's just a ritual thing that I do. And I know before there's ever an issue, I fix that issue. So going back to all of this, let's see what else am I going to cover. Rice. I don't put things that are in Mylar bags. I do not take them out. I do not put them in Foodsaver bags. I do not put them in mason jars. I just leave it like this on the shelf. Yes, if you had a rodent problem, you could have issues. But for a long-term food storage that you could do is just leave it in the Mylar. You could use a tub like I've got, or just leave it in bins in your cupboard and rotate it. I keep going back to rotate, rotate, rotate. Okay, so I kind of skipped over. This was the question. Good morning. Hope your day is going great. If I am asking too much, just let me know. With oxygen absorbers, what size is good for half-gallon mason jars and pint jars? I use 300 cc's, one in each half-gallon. Is that enough? Thank you for your help. So I answered that. I have 300 cc's. That would be plenty. A quart jar, you would need 100 cc's. A half-gallon, you'd need 200 cc's, so 300 cc's is going to cover it completely. You're good to go. And again, one way, if you're putting it in jars, you would know because you're not getting any popping on your jars. Next question, I'll leave up here. If I don't have the lid attachment to my Foodsaver, will the oxygen absorbers be enough to suck out the oxygen out of my mason jar? And again, I went through that. Yes. Your Foodsaver, if you've got a Foodsaver, do not have to think about oxygen absorbers at all. Years ago, when I was doing older videos, you may see me put an O2 inside a jar and then use my Foodsaver, because back then I was all about extra duty. I was just learning and I was wanting to make sure. And if you still are concerned today, then why not throw one in there? It's not gonna hurt. But I am telling you, I've done this a lot of years. You do not have to. I can't find the comment, but I had a gal ask me, she had told me that she had put away a bunch of flour, and it seems to me she had said 100 pounds of flour. And her husband thought she was nuts. Do I think she was nuts? And I told her at the time, I do not believe so. Because if you find some self-comfort in doing your preps, nobody can tell you how much you need to store. Because there are people out there every day hitting my channel telling me you are crazy for storing this food. But the preppers and the people that want that comfortability of knowing that you can take care of your family, then they're all going to be on your wavelength. They're going to all agree with you. And every person's different. So maybe I'm going to store 1,000 pounds of red hard wheat, or maybe hard white wheat. You know, that is what I feel comfortable with. Now, what your family feels comfortable with might be 6 cans of Spam and some rice. You have to find in your heart, in your soul, of how you feel comfortable with what you have. And once you get to that that part in your life where you feel comfortable, then it becomes an everyday. It becomes your lifestyle. So you're always thinking, well, shoot, I just finished a jar of rice. You know, maybe I'll go get another bag of rice. Or you let 6 jars go down and you go buy a bigger bag of rice and fill them. It's what makes you comfortable, what makes you sleep at night. And we all know that food prices are going through the roof right now. And there has been, 4 months now where things are so hard to find on the shelf. And I do not believe personally it's going to get better. So just by, having that comfortability that you're going to feed your family, it's all on you, what makes you have a peace of mind. Now, getting to my number 10 can of rice. Oh my goodness. Okay, so 2007 is when I stored this at the LDS cannery. Went over there, I used their canner. It's gotten expensive. You're probably better doing your own methods versus this, or go purchase the LDS rice in a 6-pack like this, already done. I'm not even sure what the cost is. I'll leave down the links down below, Provident Living, where you can order this. But I think the different means that I explained to you, you can do on your own. Oh, I did, real quick. Brown rice, white rice, and quinoa. These are not long-term food storage. You might be able to get a couple years out of it. You do not want to store this for long-term. The hull on the back, the outside of the brown rice and the quinoa will go rancid after a period of time. So this is not a long-term food storage thing. I love brown rice. I love quinoa. I still have it. I have it in little jars like that because it's perfect for my family, and that's how I rotate my brown rice and quinoa. Okay, so another thing I want to discuss real quick is if you're going to store a lot of cans, like your number 10s, make sure you have plenty of can openers. Or this is a P51 military can opener, and this is the P38. And you can see there's a huge difference in size. This came in all the old C rations, K rations. I will only tell you to ever purchase the Shelby or the Speaker brand. They are US companies. If you buy any of the Chicon stuff, they are going to bend. So I've got the P51 here. Let's see if I can open it and show you here real quick. I'm not sure if you heard that or not. I'm going to have to sit this down probably. You get the idea. You can open this up with the P51. I got probably about a fifth of the way around. Can opener here. So I'm back here with my reliable P38. I tried using the can opener, and it's been a couple of years since I opened up a number 10 can. Now let me tell you, when you use the cannery's canner, for some reason, if you try to use a can opener where you sealed that lid, it is going to open up hard. You need to flip it upside down and use the can opener on the lid that you didn't seal. Why, I don't know. So I went ahead, I'm using my P38 here, and I am just going around and opening my can of rice. All right, let me get rid of this lid because it's dangerous. You can see here, let me see if I can't, whoa. All right, you can see my O2 in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get a bowl, see if I can do this without making a mess. Oh my goodness, I'm not set up here for it. Sorry about this, guys. But what I am trying to show you is there is no issue with any bugs. Give me a second. All right, let me cock this a little bit. Again, apologies, but you can see I dumped that whole thing out, and we do not have any issues with bugs. There's no breakdown. There's no bad smell to it. You know, really, sometimes filming these videos are a little difficult because I'm not a production company. I'm just one person. And I get some comments. I've got an older year supply video. Somebody says, you've got shade. Why didn't you film it in the sun? It's like, well, if you're not in Arizona, you don't understand. The heat, even in January, is hot. So I did it in the shade. And unfortunately, I didn't have a ring light or anything like that. So a lot of my filming was done in the dark. But yeah, so this is my rice. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'll get this out of the way. I'm going to put this in a package A, and I'll do that on the next video. That in a package B, take it over to my son and daughter-in-law's house, and I'm going to cook the rice and let them taste it for you and see which one or if they notice the difference on either of them. I sure hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I answered some of the questions that I got. I know a lot of preppers, you're used to this. I hope this worked out for a lot of the new preppers. If you like the video, please subscribe, and if you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell. Have a blessed day.